What is going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back really today to talk about the state of the game in terms of how the current blog posts and updates are currently getting released. So, if you guys have been following Marvel Strike Force, you know the importance of the blog posts. They're typically out every Friday, so we get a sneak peek of the data, the information, and up until I think the early December, I think they've been doing a pretty decent job in terms of just getting the correct milestones, calculations, and updates to us as the players. But not gonna lie, guys, over the last month, and I do understand that obviously folks on their side have taken time off, there's holidays and so forth, but the quality has definitely been lacking, guys. And there's a couple of things I want to bring up, but it's a big issue here if it continues, and as well the lack of quality that we are seeing from these blog posts. So one of the key points that I do remember is when version 7.6 release was actually leaked. So if you recall, guys, with this specific patch, all the envoys were making the sneak peek information on both the Extreme X-Men team as well as Hive Mind actually already being included, and then everyone's getting super excited. We're ending the year strong, and we're going to be seeing 2 raid teams come to the game. Well, guess what? Fast forward a couple weeks later to a month, we didn't get to see any of that information, and now Hive Mind is officially in the game, and we have still yet to see that information. So that's kind of the trend I'm leaning on here, and why I'm making this video, because I feel like the quality has been lacking. And the lack of communication has definitely resulted in, I want to say lacking interest, the confusing players, especially when they're not communicating the key information in these blog posts. So I'm going to give you a couple examples, right? This was at the very, very start at a version 7.6 release note, and you can see they specifically reference what this patch is going to entail, right? Super exciting times. Extreme X-Men's coming. Obviously, we've seen it near the end of the year. The Cyclops Gambit rework, but as well as Sunspot and having Forge being introduced. They talk about Hive Mind here, bonding with Victory in raid lanes using his new Hive Mind team. And then even mentioning that the Venom and Carnage stat improvements are going to be listed. Well, guess what? They were never listed on this blog post. Even if you go back to this day, they're still not there. So it's just, if you're not going to be including information in here, don't include it because it's just going to be misleading. And as well, if you're going back and looking at this, maybe folks were trying to see what happened to this information, whether or not it came to fruition. But a month later, finally, we do see how Venom and Carnage came to be. But it's just super misleading. Guys, if you're watching this video and you're working for Scopely, just do the quality assurance check. Just make sure you're not including information you shouldn't be, right? All the content creators, all the envoys vocalized this. The least you could have done is go back and edit this. I think it's just a little embarrassing, especially if you're a professional company releasing these expected blog posts every week. So yeah, like I said, like I referenced earlier, guess what? The full, essentially this new team is already in the game. We can see how their stats are. So, in my eyes, what was the point of the blog post? If you guys are gonna include characters and teams already in the game, then save yourself some embarrassment. I don't know, what was the point of putting that information in the blog post just to put them in game? If there was no reason for it, then save on the edit, save on the time that's wasted writing the blog post, and put that into the issues and bug fixes in the game. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe that information comes to light obviously this week in the Friday blog post, but the character's already in the game, so it's a little backwards, my honest opinion, right? There's no dates when they're announced. I'm not sure what's happening over there, but you guys need to figure it out. It's just, in any kind of professional organization where you're communicating to the public like this, there's no way this kind of information is consistently, comes up as an issue, or there's constantly needing revisions. Subject to change is such a big joke. I just find it, laughable that this is still an ongoing thing for a company that's been doing this for year over year, every week on a Friday blog post. So guys, another big example, the Horseman Scourge events. This is something that everyone was finally waiting on. Not only was there zero communication at year end, even just giving folks a heads up on when they could expect this, they finally dropped this in the start of January, which is great, right? A huge update. Finally, everyone got to see what the Horseman Scourges were all about. Okay, we got an update. Okay, when? If you're going to communicate this information, and it's pretty exciting because everyone's been waiting, please communicate a date, because otherwise everyone's just going to keep asking again. You never really addressed the core issue, which was folks were wondering 2 things, right? How the events were going to be set up, and number 2, when are they coming into the game? And if you're not aware of this, well, you know, we have the player voice movement, we have the community, you have Reddit posts, you have the entire Discord. Everyone's telling you exactly what they want to know. So it's just laughable that the communication's all there, but listening, not so much. You guys need to take a step back and actually assess, you know, at the end of the day, if you're going to be providing this information, provide what matters to folks, right? You know, you can put as many game modes and different styles that you want, but if you're not communicating when this comes about, then you're just going to be getting the question back and answer it again. And that just creates redundancy. It just creates issues and then back and forth between the internal companies. I can go on and on, but it's just professionally, if you're going to communicate this, make sure you know what to communicate. It's, again, another embarrassing point that I want to point out. Now, having said that, very big update. I was super pleased to finally see this, but confused when this was going to be live. And then sure enough, 2 days later, we got that information, right? But another big update on the recent blog post. We got the Escape from Kiln update, another cool game mode that's coming. I'm super excited about it. But again, similar issue. We're not seeing when are these coming into the game. If you're going to be hyping up a specific game mode and it's coming soon, well, add in a date or something. Coming soon, is it in the next month? Is it next week? Well, sure enough, we finally got the messaging in-game that the event's coming within a week. Well, again, what's the point of the blog post? If you're using the game itself to tell us when the dates are coming, save your time, save your effort in writing the blog post and focus on the errors, the bugs in your game, because you're already not doing a good job communicating, and that is the point of the blog post. So, Scopely, if you're watching, I don't know, like some other things that kind of irked me was the fact that, you know, you can communicate less like a robot. You don't have to say until next time, Commander. You know, at the year end, it's okay to say happy holidays. You know, at the end of the day, that's, you know, they're super underwhelming in terms of what we saw from the 2023 end of year blog post and the start of 2024. It's okay to have these celebrations. You know, it's year end to wrap it up. It's okay to celebrate and sound less like a robot and actually communicate like a human being. And, you know, a big one, review your blog. If you aren't going to be including this information, then take it out. If it's not relevant, then why include it in the first place? I think you guys are just creating more work for yourselves, especially if there's issues or errors being brought up. And it's not me, it's everyone that talks about it and communicates it. So you know the information and the feedback's there, but you're just simply not listening. Now, a big quirk I have right here is that if you're going to be adding characters in the game before the blog post, as I referenced earlier, what's the point? We now see that 2 members of the Hive Mind team are officially added. Carnage and Venom's kits have been reworked, which is great. But, you know, what was the point of, you know, leaving those cookie crumbs, if you will, of these reworks, not showcasing any information, not showcasing any of the kits, and now they're in game. You're letting the game do the job itself? Okay, great. Then save your effort, save the time. Don't bother writing that in the blog post, because you're just creating a situation where, you know, folks and content creators are going to be reviewing that, and then it's going to be wrong, and then we're basically, you know, communicating incorrect information. And lastly, just save your time. Focus on the works, the fixing the bugs, the issues, and quality in game. If you can't even do a decent enough job to write a blog post, and you guys were doing okay before this, but this trend really started in the final months of last year, so I'm not really sure what happened with you guys. Perhaps maybe a different writer, maybe a different editor, but yeah, just my 2 cents, guys. Let me know what you think in comments below, but I hope this does not continue. Hopefully it was just a holiday break, but it's been ongoing for over a month now, so hopefully they can get it together.